We have a big aspect coming up this weekend, Saturday, the 10th of June, or it will be on Sunday, the 11th for many of you. It's an aspect I've been eyeing for a while, and it's about Ceres, the dwarf planet opposing Neptune. And I'm going to talk to you about my thoughts about that. Okay, but first of all, please subscribe to my channel, give me a thumbs up, share the video if you're so called. Also check out my merch below. I have some fun merch, no obligation to buy it, but I rather love my logo. So if you like following the Cosmic Owl, treat yourself. But anyway, I am Louise Eddington, the Cosmic Owl of Cosmic Owl Astrology, and we're going to talk about this opposition coming up this weekend. I'm recording this on Wednesday, June the 7th. Now, Ceres is an interesting energy. It's something I've been working with for quite a long time because I have Ceres, that's Ceres, conjunct my ascendant. So she really speaks to me strongly. And I will, in fact, be writing a book about Ceres, but that's quite a ways off publishing. And Ceres, and I've also done other videos about Ceres, which I will link to at the end of this video if you want to go and check out my presentation on Ceres. But Ceres, she's a very complex character in both mythology and astrology. Astrology-wise, Ceres was, and astronomy, she was discovered on January the 1st, 1801, first apparently called a planet for a little while, but then downgraded, if you like, and called an asteroid, and long known as asteroid number 1. And then on the discovery of the dwarf planet, the planet of discord, Eris, Ceres was reclassified from asteroid to dwarf planet at the same time as Pluto was reclassified, and I don't like to say demoted, if you notice, reclassified from planet to dwarf planet. And now we've got this whole category of dwarf planets. There's Ceres, Pluto, Eris, Makemake, Ixion. There's so many dwarf planets, and they are a whole new classification of planets astronomically. However, in my opinion, that makes them no less powerful in astrology. These dwarf planets, to my mind, are big messengers of change. Alison Chester Lambert, an astrologer in the UK, wrote a book called Starry Messengers. I see them as that. I see them as messengers of big changes coming. Okay, so I'm not going to go over them all. I could go on forever about the dwarf planets, but that's not what you're here for. I want to cut things short in a nutshell. But Ceres, as I said, was discovered on January the 1st, 1801, right in the middle of the industrial age, when the industrial combustion and internal combustion engine, not industrial, the combustion engine was created, and there was huge so-called advancements in technology. We had, trains and cars were developed, and all kinds of mechanization and factories and factory farming, all churning out their combustion, burning off things into the atmosphere and adding to, and science has proved this, so I don't want any climate deniers going in my comments. You can keep your opinions to yourself, but it's pretty certain that the rate of climate change has increased since the industrial age, and because of the impact of humans' discoveries and actions upon the earth. Now, this is really what Ceres is about in many ways. She is about what nurtures us and what nourishes us here on the earth. It's my opinion that Ceres is the missing dwarf planet, the missing personal planet, I beg your pardon. She is positioned just inside the asteroid belt. Now, previously, all the personal planets, known as the personal planets, the visible personal planets, were Mercury, Venus, Earth with a third rock, and Mars. And those are the planets, the 4 planets that are inside the asteroid belt. And then we could also see Jupiter and Saturn. So that made Saturn the 6th planet from the sun. Now, Saturn's number is a 7. So it's my opinion that Ceres has been hiding in plain sight all along, kind of saying, beaming down her wishes that we would nourish the earth, the home we are given. Now, this kind of revelation, if you like, came to me thanks to Mormon missionaries. My daughter invited missionaries to come and talk to her about the Mormon church. And being a very protective mother myself, which is very Ceres also, I would not let them speak to her alone because she was a young girl. And they sat there talking about the Heavenly Father this, the Heavenly Father that. And I was like, so what about the Heavenly Mother? And they gave me some long reply about, of course, there's a Heavenly Mother, but she's so precious that she is hidden away and protected by the Heavenly Father. And I was like, okay. So there is this Heavenly Mother figure all along. And it's not the moon, even though the moon also doesn't represent that nurturing principle. But it's been my experience that Ceres represents the mother, the nurturing mother principle at its highest, even more than the moon does. She is grief, loss, forgiveness, nurturing, acceptance of birth and death and life cycles, all that kind of stuff. Now, if we add Ceres in as a personal planet between Mars and Jupiter, that would make Saturn the 6th planet from the sun. So we would have Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Ceres, Jupiter, Saturn. It just makes sense to me. You don't have to agree with me, but I would like you to at least sit with and consider this nurturing principle. However, Ceres is also the devouring mother. In the myth, Ceres caused famine. She caused the crops to fail because she did not like the fact that Hades had taken her daughter, her innocent daughter, off into the underworld. And this is a myth that we'll be talking about in my Venus retrograde class this summer, by the way. We'll be looking at Ceres or Demeter, Venus, Persephone, and Hades, Pluto, into this journey into the underworld, and we'll be looking at the Eleusinian mysteries. But I digress. There is a link below to sign up for the class. There's also a link to sign up for a preview call that I'll be doing on June the 19th when Venus enters the degree that she will retrograde back to. But again, I digress. So Ceres can be a bit of a devouring mother. If she's not happy, then she can cause crop failures. She can cause famine. She can cause destruction, okay, because she's so grief-stricken. And I associate Ceres with climate change. That's a long way to say that. And with the causes of our impact on the earth. And as I speak today, and we'll look at the opposition in a minute, the west coast of the USA is shrouded in smoke from big fires from Canada. It's something we in the West have been experiencing for several years. When the earth turns orange and you can taste the smoke in the sky, and it's eerie and it's horrible and it's poisonous and it's dangerous. And right now we have Ceres approaching this opposition with Neptune. So I'm going to share the chart. But it's more than just an opposition with Neptune. So here is Ceres in the chart on Saturday, June the 10th. That's not exact. Let me get that exact to... There we go. It's exactly opposing. So there's Neptune, 27 degrees, 34 minutes. Ceres, 27 degrees, 34 minutes, Virgo, which is an earth sign. Neptune in Pisces is very cloudy, is very smoky energy. I think this is a big message. I was kind of expecting some kind of big message climate-wise to come through with this opposition. And here we literally have it on the west coast of the US. We also have this massive flooding in Ukraine with the dam being destroyed, probably by the Russians, though no proof, no evidence of that. Flooding, people having to leave their homes. I'm sure there's other disasters going on at the moment. I should actually look. Let me have a look at the moment to see if there's anything else going on. No, that's not the one I want. We have, globally, we have seen increased flooding. We've seen increased fires. I'm just seeing headlines in the weather app. Apocalyptic skies glow yellow, orange in the northeast of the US. Unhealthy air quality. Haze, before and after haze. We've also got a tropical storm building. Kilauea in Hawaii has started to erupt. I'm sure there's other things going on. And this week, I wouldn't be surprised if there's more. So there's the sun. Hawaiian volcano roars to life. That's another headline on the weather app. Now, it's awful, of course, for everybody being in it, but we've had these warning signs coming for a long time. We've had increased size and of hurricanes. We've had more higher category hurricanes going. We've had bigger cyclones coming. We've had volcanoes erupting. The volcano in Mexico was erupting a little while ago. But I think this one is a really big warning for humanity that if we do not change, we are going to be really kind of destroying our environment. And Ceres is a big part of that. Now then, I mentioned that this is the opposition. Neptune in Pisces is the ocean and clouds and smoke. And you can't make that stuff up. We're getting this literal kind of energy of the smoke in the east coast of the US. This is Virgo in the earth, but also Virgo in learning how to find wholeness again. But this T-square, opposition between the two is in an almost exact square to the galactic center. And the galactic center in astrology is the center of our galaxy, the Milky Way. It's Sagittarius A. It's the black hole at the center of our galaxy. It has, I saw a news report actually about Sagittarius A, and I cannot remember exactly what they said. So I'm just going to look for you. Interestingly, the Sagittarius A is said to be 26,000 light years from Earth, and 26,000 is the cycle of the ages. So we are in this big transformative period. Oh yeah, there's some mysterious galactic core filaments seen stretching from Sagittarius A. And we don't know what they are yet, but these cosmic threads are reaching out from the Milky Way's monster black hole. Hundreds of lines made from a multitude of gases have been discovered extending outward from the black hole at the center of the Milky Way. Messages, possibly. Gases, very Neptune in Pisces as well. Let me see what they said about it. They're each 5 to 10 light years in length. They line the galactic center and radiate outwards along the plane of the galaxy like spokes on a bicycle wheel, with our galaxy's black hole at the hub. And again, they don't know what they are yet, but it's my opinion that this T-square is giving us this huge message, okay, that it's time to change how we live on this earth. And I know we are starting to change, but we are not there yet. This message is not only digging down because of the T-square to the galactic center. Neptune is also stationing retrograde on June the 30th. So he's such a vast energy that his energy is digging in at the moment. This is also at 27 degrees, which is really kind of the end number, but it's the 2, which is the divine feminine, and the 7 in a 7 year, which is a 7 year is kind of tower card. We reach this point of kind of destruction before we rebuild. Now then, it's not all that's going on, of course, because Neptune and Ceres are in aspect to Mercury. The transformer came between people and gods. The transgressor, and he's in Mercury, or they, because he's a binary character, is in Taurus, which is the most earthly of signs. I associate Taurus with the earth. Yes, it's ruled by Venus, but Venus is the higher incarnation of Earth. So he's giving us a big message about the earth, but he's actually at 28 degrees, which is a 1, a new start. This ass is also in wide aspect to Sedna. Sedna has an orb of 11,408 years. She was last at this place at the end of the Great Ice Ages, when we had a big change in the way that humans lived on this earth. And as Sedna moved into Gemini, people became agrarian, started to farm, started to, grow crops instead of just being hunter-gatherers. And we can see where that's ended up over 11,408 years. And Sedna is literally about to move into the sign of Gemini after this aspect very shortly. And Gemini is about perceptions and communication and ideas and changing how we do things. So these two really are kind of teaming up together. Then we also have, I'm going to draw some lines. And this is, this is a collective aspect. And I'm passionate about climate change. I do what I can. So, within the limits of my own personal capabilities. We drive an electric car, which I know has its problems in its own way, but it doesn't pump out emissions. And we recycle and various other things. But anyway, so we've got this line to here. We've got this opposition to here, this square to here. All these are in orb because this is huge. Then we also have Haumea, and Haumea is at 20, and incidentally, she is a Hawaiian goddess, and Kilauea is erupting. This is in a quincunx to Sedna, saying we can birth something new. This is calling for a radical, radical change, though. And I'm kind of hoping that because this smoke is now clouding the east coast of the USA, that the USA as world leaders will, with most of the governmental population being on the East Coast, wakes up to something radical needing to be done and they take the lead. But that's my hope. And then I'm going to say Pluto, look at Pluto. Pluto is at 0 degrees of Aquarius this weekend, about to move back into the sign of Capricorn to finish mopping up his revealing of what's wrong, what we need to change in the structures of our society. Now, most people have been relating that to politics and banking and those kind of institutions. But what about the institutions of like our manufacturing and how we do our farming and so on and so forth? Now, I find it interesting that Pluto is at 0, because he's going to come back to that and say, yes, we can create something new. But guess what? Pluto is retrograding back to 27 degrees of Capricorn. So really, he's still in aspect to all of this. And he's in square to Haumea, which is saying Pluto and Haumea are going to square each other for 13 times in this decade. They started in 2022. We get 2 this year, it's going to carry on right till 2028, the exact squares. These are warning signs, and this is one of the peaks. All of these planets, this is going to set, Pluto will semi-sextile the galactic center. Haumea's in a sextile to the galactic center. Sedna is in a quincunx, make adjustments to the galactic center. Neptune is in a 2-year-long square to the galactic center. And Ceres is the faster moving one. She is going to activate these points over and over. So at a personal level, you are going to be impacted more by this energy if you have something around 27 degrees of the mutable signs, which are Gemini, Virgo, Sagittarius, and Pisces. And that happens to be my ascendant, which is it's actually at 28 degrees Sagittarius. So I feel like I'm voicing these warning signs. I know I'm speaking to a relatively small audience in the great scheme of things, but I think the cosmos is bringing in these big energies of change. Ceres has been revealed as being a planet warning us that we have to live more in alignment with the earth, that we do not have dominion over, that we are stewards of caring for Gaia, nourishing Gaia, so that Gaia can nourish us. So I want to kind of issue this big warning that this aspect, these fires, Kilauea bursting into action again, and the dam, even if that was caused by humans, the flooding, they're all big warnings. As if we haven't had enough already, but there's a big accumulation of them at the moment. And I'd love to know what those filaments are coming from the black hole at the center of our universe, because I think there's some kind of warning coming from those as well. that we have to change. Oh, incidentally, by the way, as well, I shared it in one of my posts the other day, but there's evidence now that human-like creatures, they called them, scientists love to, say that we are very different, whereas there's great evidence that we as living, sentient, thinking beings have changed and evolved over years. There was Neanderthal and all those kind of things. There was another class of humans 300,000 years ago that buried their dead the way we do, and that actually marked symbols like forms of writing on caves. We know nothing. There's a great history of human transformation over time. There's even beliefs and probably some evidence out there that there has been great civilizations in the past. I don't know how much actual solid evidence there is, but Atlantis, most people believe Atlantis was this great civilization that disappeared. We are in danger of our current civilization kind of going into this great massive change and having to kind of restart in a different way if we don't actually choose to change our actions. I think we're changing anyway, but how we go through this massive change is kind of up to us. So what can you do? I don't know. Write to your leaders, start recycling. If you don't, start paying attention, maybe dig up your lawns, it needs everybody to do their part. More indigenous fire management practices, because indigenous peoples used to manage fire, literally. More clean energy production so that we're not churning out, more sustainable farming. I think we need all these things. But anyway, this is a big warning. I hope I haven't scared you, but I wanted to show you how it's showing up in the astrology. When I saw this Ceres Neptune opposition approaching and realized that it was going to square the galactic center, I thought this is going to be big. Okay, this is going to be big about how we nourish and serve the earth. We are stewards. We do not have dominion over. Mic drop. Warning out. Please subscribe to my channel. Leave me your comments.